So, if you could go back in time and change one thing in your life, what would it be? If you could, and if you could, what would it be? What would you like do different? What would you say different? And if you wouldn't go back and change one thing, why not? Why not? Why wouldn't you? Are you thoroughly satisfied with how your life is now? Because we know that every single experience, every single situation that we have been through in this whole life, it has molded us and shaped us into the persons we are today. All the experiences that we've had. And so someone was asked that if you could go back in time and you could change one thing, what would that one thing be if you could have your way? And would it really make a difference in your life today? And so, some of the answers that some people would have to that are kind of crushing. It really is because, some people went through some terrible, terrible experiences in their life. And if they could change one thing, if they had control over the day that they were born and the family that they were born into and all of that, some people, you all, they would change that whole entire situation. But what if they did? What if they did have control and they could go back and they were told you have one thing that you could change? And they went back and changed that one thing. Would they be the person that they are today? Would they? Would they be a better person than they are today? Would they know the things today that they know if they went back and changed that one thing? I really don't know because I think that would literally set us on a totally different path. Perhaps one would describe it as a totally different timeline. Um, that's what you would thought you was going to stop AI if it was within your power to do so. So, yeah, if you had it good, I would change oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, if your life is going fine, perhaps you have nothing that you would want to change. It's perfect and it's exactly what you want to be. But then that's not the case with some people. It isn't the case with some people. It's not, you all. They would do something different in hopes that their life would turn out different than it has on this physical earth. And it's sad. It really is sad if you think about it. When someone like is born in poverty and they cannot seem to, even as they grow up, they cannot get out of that poverty for some strange reason. And it may not even be, like the decision they made. It may be someone else's decision that is literally had kept them in that their whole life. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they didn't get to that point within their being to realize, hey, this is not how I want to live, and I'm going to do something about it. Because every single situation that we go through, it's to help us to learn and to grow. And if we don't learn and we don't grow, there's no way we're going to be able to move beyond any type of regret, any type of thought process that would say, if I could just go back in time and change that. You know, I think that you may find this too, that we can't physically go back in time. Sure, there's things that happened in our lives that maybe we wish would have never happened. But truly, if those things had not happened to you or to me, would we be the persons that we are today? Would we have grown in the ways that we have within here? And would we have the insight that we have if things were different? And that's It's kind of like a paradox. It really is. For me personally, I don't think I would go back and change. I would not go back and change one single thing, because all it would take is one tweak, one little tweak, one little decision that would literally change the whole course of your life, and the course of everyone else's that you have in your life right now. They probably would not even be in your life. They probably wouldn't. You wouldn't be in any of it. It would be a whole new surrounding, a whole new everything in some instances. It literally would be like you're on a totally different timeline, is what it would be like. I know if I wouldn't have married my husband when I did back in 1987, if I if I was career oriented, I had a good job offer right out of high school. At like, let's see, back in 87, it was paying $21 an hour in computers back in 1987. And when I was offered that job, I had to turn it down. She said, "Are you sure?" She said, "That's a lot of money." She said, "It's a really good job." I said, "I just got engaged to be married." If I would have took that path and said, I'm not going to get married, and just furthered that career, I wouldn't be sitting right here. I can tell you right now, I would not be sitting right here. I would not be having this experience. I wouldn't be interacting with you all. I would have climbed that corporate ladder. I would have climbed all the way to the top, is what I probably would have done. Straight up to the tippy top, as far as I could go. I would have done it, you all. I would have, because that was good job back then in 1987, to be offered around $20 to $21 an hour. And I know I wouldn't have stayed that pay grade. I wouldn't have. But I chose this path that I did choose. I knew who I was supposed to marry. I knew. And how do you know within your being what you're supposed to do? How do you have that knowing within you, um, within you, that this is the decision you are supposed to make? Because some people may not know that, and they're honest. They may not know, because they may not feel that intuition within, that guiding within, that prompting within. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. If you make that other decision, you're going to be a totally, totally different person. Totally different, you all. So I do wonder, you all, if there's something that someone would have done different, just one thing, would you do it? And would you like it that if you knew this life now and knew that all you had learned, all the experiences that you brought right now to the table, everything that you are now, everything that you've known, what if you wouldn't know all this that you know now? What if you didn't? Because you made the other decision, you would have no knowledge of it at all. You wouldn't have met the people that you met along life's way. You wouldn't have. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have had the children that I have. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have had none of the experiences that I had. I'd have different experiences, and all of that. Yeah, that's right. It would have changed hundreds on your path. Amanda, honey, that's absolutely true. And so it would be with someone who went back in time and made one little bitty tinkering, just did one little thing that literally turned everything, set everything on a totally different path, because they went back in time and did that one thing, maybe one different decision. That's it. And then as time went by, boom, all the other lives that played out the way they did, none of it happened. None of it. And maybe hardly anybody existed that they formerly knew. Anybody that was in history, anybody did not exist and they never accomplished what they were supposed to because somebody went back in time and made one change, interfered with time itself. Yeah. Yeah, you already had your kids when you met your husband. So, I don't have any regrets. And if there was a regret, it would be that I did not love enough. I did not love enough. I did not forgive enough. And that would probably be it. Even though I do love a lot and I forgive a lot, but then I'm not as strong as some people are. You all, I'm not. I was a very, very, very introvert. I was very introverted when I was small. I was extremely, and maybe you would not have known it, but now I'm like this. I'm still introverted, but yeah. Um, Being happy. You would like to go back. A lot of people would like to go back. If you would like to go back, is it because that maybe you had some regrets because you maybe you wanted to make that one decision but something kept you from it? Is it because of that? Jenny. Yeah, we should not alter it, but there are those, some say, that have the ability to go back in time and tamper with time itself. And is that possible? Really, is it possible for someone to do that? To travel back into an alternate time and an alternate reality, or another time and another reality? Do we have that technology today? Not you or me, but is there entities that have that ability to do that, to travel back in time and do something like that? And if so, why would they do it? Why would they do it? If you change something you did, does it possibly affect other people too? I think it would affect other people too, you all, because we're all connected. We are all connected. Isn't there like some kind of a theory out there that each person is connected somehow? I don't know how many other persons down the line. We're all connected like that. Yeah. There is technology that can do that. And if there's technology that could do that, would that be for the better of humanity, or would that be for the worst of humanity? Um, and if you can go back, there are those who believe in, when you die, you get a new body. Your spirit goes on to a new body, and what's that called? Um, it's done slipped my mind, you all. It's if you've been here before, many, many, many lifetimes, I cannot think of that word for the, yes, thank you, the R word, reincarnation. There is a theory that once this body on earth is done, your spirit goes, well, the spirit does not die. Thank you, Nairuka. The spirit does go on. It exits the body because it's been seen and it's been spoken about time and time again and documented. When a person's lying on their deathbed or they're having near-death experience, they literally can see their self leaving their body and looking down at their body. They know that they're laying there. They're up there and they go somewhere. And sometimes they don't want to come back, but they're told, you have to go back. It's not your time. And that spirit goes back into that body that they had that near-death experience. Um, so there is truth to that right there. There is life after death, but where does that spirit go? And can that spirit, and does that spirit get another life, another body to live in, to relearn the things that maybe they didn't learn the last time around? Do they get more chances to learn and grow? Because some people say that Earth is like a gigantic classroom, and that someone said Earth is a classroom, and it's like a great big old like dome above it, and then they have all these other like beings. They're just watching the Earthlings from, you know, as bystanders. They're just watching to see if what the people on Earth are doing. You ever hear that too? You're having multi-life experiences, for we all live in many dimensions. Yes, all live in many dimensions. My eye is itching, but that's okay, you all. And I could, if I had to read these words on here, it's not happening, you all. It's not happening without these glasses on here. Um, where in the Bible does it talk about a reincarnation? Well, someone once said that Elijah did come, but you did to him what you wanted. And there's two witnesses that are supposed to show up in the end times. There are, and how could they show up if they have already died? They're gonna come back to life. They're going to be reincarnated. They're going to have a physical body. They're going to be able to be seen, and they're going to be able to do things. Um, there's a lot of theories out there that the Bible does not specifically speak about. But does it mean that just because it does not specifically speak about it, does it mean that it's not true, that it doesn't exist? I don't think it means that. I really don't. There are those who feel that if it's not in there, they're not going to give it a second thought. They're not. And that's fine if that's how you feel. But there are references. Okay, there are. How do little children have a memory of being someone else? They've studied it. They can tell you who they say, I was such and such before I came here, and they tell of this life, the name of themselves, and researchers have went to whatever they were speaking about, looked it up, and yes, the child knew things that they should not have known. But then some people may say, well, that's just demonic possession. Is it? I don't think it is. When this spirit, when this body dies, the spirit, it goes back to where it came from. It doesn't die, it lives. Kind of like immortal. Your spirit is a living, it's living. It is, you all. Last generation. You feel like you lived lifetimes before. You get glimpses of you doing activities. How can a person know all the things that they know? Say you got a very, very broad range of skill sets. How can you know how to do certain things when you have never done them your whole life? And then you see something, you say, oh, well, this is what you do. How could you know that? You never did it before. You never researched it before, but then you just have a knowing within you. That speaks volumes. It really does speak volumes. Um, I'm a very old soul too. I think a lot of people are very old souls. And there's a lot of people, if you believe in the reincarnation, a lot of people are tired of coming back to this earth. They're getting tired of it. And they're going to try their best to learn whatever they have to learn, according to the theory, so they do not have to keep coming back. Because it's not nice at times. It isn't. Yeah. A pole shift in Noah's time. I read, someone said Noah was a giant. Um, That was the first I ever heard that Noah was a giant. This is your final finale, Rebecca, honey. Yeah. So I'll get back to my original question. If you could go back and change one, if you could go back in time and change one thing, what would that be? And really, why would it be? And would you go back in time and change anything? Or you wouldn't because you wouldn't be who you are today? Yeah, or you have no desire whatsoever to do it. None at all. I wouldn't go back and change it. There may be some regrets you have in your life, but a lot of people have regrets. A lot of us have regrets that we wish we wouldn't have done this or that or said this or that. But the mere fact that you know that you shouldn't have said what you said or did what you said, that means that you have grown on the inside. Okay, you are growing. Regardless of any past failures, regardless of any past thoughts or things that happened, when you say that if I could had it do over again, I wouldn't do it like that. I would do it totally different. That means that growth has occurred within you, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing, despite the sometimes not too nice things that happened, or the sad things, or the mistakes, or the wrong decisions, the wrong words. It's a good thing that you're growing on the inside. It is. If you could like look at it from a spiritual growth point of view, um, it would be best viewed like that if you could. Everything that's happened to you has molded you into who you are today. Um, the Holy Trinity, the learn, use mind, soul, and body. Yeah. Um, yeah, it would change, Tina, honey. It would change the way you feel. It would change the way, it would change everything. And I feel that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, and we may not understand it, and we may not agree with it at all. Chances are some things we do not agree with happening the way that they happen. And if we could stop somebody from feeling the hurt that they're feeling, I think we would do it in a heartbeat. Why? Because in our human understanding within here, we don't want to see nobody hurt. We don't. So the human part of us, that loving, that compassionate, that caring part of us, we don't want to see no one going through hard times. We don't want to see anybody hurt. We don't. And we don't like to get hurt ourselves. We don't. But you know what? The hurt, the hurt gets healed over time, but for some it doesn't. For some strange reason, the hurt, they don't get over it. But we do, the majority of people learn through the hurt. Um, they grow through the pain, and they grow stronger. And they may not be thankful for it right then and there. It may take a few months, it may take years for them to look back and say, you know what? I'm glad that that happened because I have learned and I can see why it happened, because look at me now. Look at me now. My life is a lot better because I learned that early on. And yeah, you all, you can learn. You can learn from your life, and it really does make you appreciate this time right here and now. It does. It makes you appreciate who you are on the inside. And really, when it comes back down to it, I don't think you would go back and change a thing. If you really had time to think about everything you've been through, the people's lives you've touched, the people who have crossed your path and stuff, whether good or bad, you wouldn't give it up. You wouldn't give it up for anything. You wouldn't. Would you trade all those wonderful memories that you've had for a totally different thing and wipe all those memories away, all those people away? Would you do that? Um, that's a big, difficult decision, because those memories, those good memories you've had with people, those people have had those memories too. They did. And you shared a common bond. You did. Um, so I wouldn't go back and change anything. And sure, there's things I've said and done that I wish I wouldn't have, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have learned from it. I have. And I think that's the majority of people. They realize, it's all right. It's all right. We're human. We learn, we grow, we move on. We move beyond it. And we've got to keep moving, you all. We cannot stagnate. We can't. So I am going to go. I just wanted to get on here and ask that because that was like entered my mind. I thought, I wonder if people feel like they would go back and change. And if they really do feel that way, have they really sat and thought about the ramifications of if that were to happen? Would their life be the same? Would they be the same? Would they even know the person that they would change into? And would it be for the better? Because we don't know the future. We really don't. Um, so with that being said, I'm going to go, you all. And hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, you all. It's something to think about. It really is. Don't dwell too much on it. It's okay if you said something wrong or did something wrong and you have regrets. It's okay. The mere fact that you feel regret means that you've learned and you growed. You grew within and you're growing beyond and you're continuing to grow. Have a wonderful evening, you all. Hope to see you later. Love you.